The more you indulge in comfort, there's a spider on my face. Bro.
I was not scared.
You were so relaxed.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
every single day I did what I said I was going to do. I was disciplined.
Every time you put food in your mouth, that was your decision. Unless someone's got you in a dungeon somewhere force feeding you, which is very unlikely, it was your choice.
Avoid women as much as possible. It's going to cause you nothing but stress, okay?
Welcome to episode 1 of Killing Comfort. It's our first podcast episode. My name is Luca.
And my name is James. And the purpose of this podcast is to share with you our lives, our experiences, and help you guys out along the way.
Yeah, and you might be wondering, why is it named Killing Comfort? Well, we live in a society where everything is comfortable. We've never had more access to instant gratification, quick dopamine. And if there's anything that I've learned, I'm sure James would probably agree with this, is the more you indulge in comfort, there's a spider on my face. Bro. Okay, no, that's good.
That's all right,
yeah, the more you indulge in comfort, the more uncomfortable your mind becomes. And I think that is very true for everyone.
So yes, the more you indulge in comfort, the more uncomfortable your life is going to become. And we have experienced that firsthand. So we're going to be sharing our experiences in life and things we're doing, what we get up to, and basically our journey into becoming better people.
Yeah, and we're by no means a finished product. We have had a wide variety of experiences for our age. We're both 23 and we've experienced a lot, but the purpose of this podcast is just to get together one time a week, share our experiences, and learn along the way and share the lessons that we've learned.
And you guys can join us on our journey, and hopefully we can help and inspire you guys as well. So we met back in school.
Yeah,
maybe
we grew up in the same area. This is in my cabin. It's fucking 27 degrees
so
at the
hot
moment.
here. But it's all right.
It's a hot box in this cabin, but James is just down the road from here, and we went to the same school, which is like 5 minutes away. And we never really spoke to each other during school. We may have had a few interactions. There was a alleyway that everyone used to go during the breaks in sixth form and smoke cigarettes. And we saw each other a few times. Yeah. We saw each other a few times down that alleyway, and never really after that. But the first time we properly met was in 2023. And we both, I just joined a gym and as a personal trainer. And James started working there as well, or you just?
Well, I was always involved in the gym, and you started working there, and I remember we didn't even speak because I was very unsocial, and in the last few years I've really come out of my shell a lot, and I think everyone who knows me will agree. I think you'd agree as well.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to speak to anyone.
I was always nice to this guy though. I was putting my head up. I was waiting for him to say something, but he was walking around with his baseball cap on.
Yeah.
And it was like half an hour before we spoke, but eventually we both came behind the desk and we had our first conversation. I think I mentioned something about boxing, and then we had a mutual interest in boxing from there.
Yeah, but that's how we met. And then since then, obviously, I started training, working with you, and I became your boxing coach. And then that's where really everything started. Our mutual interests aligned, and that's the history. Yeah.
We'll put the video up actually on this video, so you guys that are watching on YouTube can see it. But I remember I recorded we had our recorded first boxing session together. That's when James was just starting to become a boxing coach. And since then, it's been 2 years since he's coached me. And I'll show you the coaching now and the difference between the two. And there's been a massive skill upgrade. And through that coaching, we've become really good friends. And we've done a bunch of other stuff as well. I'm a fat loss coach predominantly, but I've also started coaching in boxing. Later this year, I'll be doing my first fight, and James will be helping me prepare for that first fight. That's something we'll talk about on this podcast as well. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing a series on that as well, so that'll be cool. But this podcast can be a little meeting every week just to discuss what's going on mentally, what's happened that week in sparring and training, etc. So I'm super excited for that. But he started teaching me in boxing. He was a great coach from day one, and how many people have you coached at this point?
Oh, so many people. I can't track, but yeah, we're both coaches, so that's kind of what's led us to starting this podcast. We both help people in our day-to-day lives, train people up and help them become more confident and get rid of their bad habits and turn into people they can be proud of. So that is why we're here today. But the purpose of this podcast today, we want to speak about why most men stay average and the kind of things that we're doing to stop us being average. The first point that we wanted to talk about was people having weak discipline.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
What are my thoughts on weak discipline? Well, I would say the majority of people do not exercise, which is just crazy to me, because if I stopped exercising, my baseline level of happiness would just, I don't know, it'd be like 20%.
Well, I think if you're a man and you're not exercising, even if you're a woman, if you're a human and you're not exercising or training, then you are not even doing the bare minimum. Now, in our lives, that is something we do not struggle with ever. I know people do, but still, if you're not training, what are you doing? If I didn't train, then I'd just be weak-minded. Everything's just wrong. And it's the bare minimum. So if you're not doing that, then I don't know, you can't even stick to the gym, then you're screwed in life pretty much. You're never going to make it anywhere. Yeah.
I feel like fitness is the baseline for everything else. Even billionaires who don't work out, they're less happy, I can guarantee you, than people who have no money but they work out every single day, because the endorphin release, the dopamine, the serotonin, that feeling of that stress release, the amount of anxiety on the days that I don't train. I went on holiday a week ago, hence the tan, right? But there was one day that I didn't train, right? And I felt like I just felt like a shell of myself. I felt 30% of what I'd usually operate at. Mentally, ideas don't come to you as fluidly, and not that feeling you get after a good workout, nothing can compare to that, I believe. Apart from drugs, but that's short-lived.
I mean, I'd agree with you there. But weak discipline is a massive problem, I'd say, in today. Now, for example, I think there's a very famous video that I like by Conor McGregor, and he's like, if you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, over time you're going to lose confidence in yourself. So like, you set yourself a time when to get up, you don't get up. You set yourself a time to train, you don't train. You set yourself a time to eat, you don't eat. And over time, over those days, they're going to stack up, and you're going to lose every bit of faith in yourself. I find that myself, like even with my morning routine, if I don't even stick to a simple routine over time, I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just losing every day.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's like the defeats stacked up over time. That's what kills your confidence.
Yeah.
The days where you're firing on all cylinders, the days where you get up, you tick that box, you tick another box, you go to the gym, you work out, you read a book that might inspire you, you do work that's important to you, and you tick all these boxes off, you go on a walk. Just simple things, but you get them done at the time you say you're going to do those things. That is what leads to true confidence. Like, sticking to your word. Nothing else leads to confidence. People think people are just naturally confident. Confidence comes from doing the things you say you're going to do on a repeated daily basis.
I think I'd agree with you, but a little add-on. Confidence is like I don't know how to say it, but it's like confidence is the stacking of
wins.
Yes, it's like you won't be confident if you have nothing to be confident about.
Evidence.
Yeah, that's the word. That's something. Confidence is like you evidence that you're doing the things you should be doing, right?
Yeah. So James did a boxing fight. So when he's teaching boxing,
this is a good point.
He's got evidence that he's an authority in that area, because he's battle tested. He's been in the ring. He knows what it's like to be in a boxing fight.
A little add on to that, right? So when I don't know, you were watching the fight. You were there in person, and when I came out, well, as you should be. When I came out, I was not scared, and I was scared in sparring all the time. But when I came out onto the fight night, I was not scared. I was confident. I knew I'd done everything I needed to do, because for about a year, all of these promises I made myself, like, I'm not going to miss a training session. I'm going to train 5 times a day. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m, run, cold shower. did not miss any of it. So on the day when it comes, I was walking out smiling, knowing that no one has trained as hard as me.
You were so relaxed.
Exactly. Because every single day I did what I said I was going to do. I was disciplined. And people were motivated all the time. So I might have been motivated for a week. I might have stuck to that for a week. But then over the time, motivation's going to fail. It's gonna disappear. And you can be motivated, that's great. But if you're not disciplined, you're never going to get anywhere. Motivation is short term. Discipline is a mindset that you're going to have to install by doing it when you don't want to do it. And basically waiting, and it's delayed gratification at the end of the day.
But I think you're rare in that sense, because there's two UFC champions. One, Georges St. Pierre, he's a Canadian, some people say he's the greatest of all time in the UFC, mixed martial arts. And there's Tom Aspinall, some people say I look like him, which I'll take. The heavyweight champion of the world currently. And they both have said on podcasts that when they walk out to fight, even though they've done everything in preparation, like you just said, they're nervous as fuck. They are shaking.
Yeah,
So I guess there's not the same level of pressure, because
I'm
millions
not
of people
fighting in front of millions of people, and it's not a titles on the line and my job. But at the end of the day, I did have a lot of pressure. I'm a boxing coach, so if I lost that fight, my clients aren't going to have confidence in me. They ask me, have you had any fights? And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, did you win? I'm like, no.
Well, it would hit you every time.
I still had pressure, but it's not on the same level. But I think it's what's in your head, and it's what's within you. And I think the mind, if you can control that, is the most powerful thing.
And there's one person who does that very well, Ilia Topuria, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, currently pound for pound #1, I think. And he says, there's a quote that I absolutely love. He says, the belts are earned in training, and then when you go to fight, you just go and collect them.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you remember what I just said to you? We went on a walk before we started the podcast. Yeah. What did I say to you?
You said a lot.
Okay. I remember I said to you, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in war. So if you're putting the work in, why would you not be confident, right?
This is getting me fired up. I might stand up and do some shadow boxing right now.
All right. I think we should move on to our next little subtopic, and that is vices. A lot of men have vices, and me and you both have had experiences with this. Mine used to be weed, smoking a lot of weed. Yeah,
me too. That was probably my biggest addiction in the past. And I've spoken about this on my YouTube channel. It's crazy how many guys have reached out to me saying they have a similar addiction, or they have the same addiction. And weed is interesting because it makes everything else so much more pleasurable. It makes food more pleasurable. It'll make conversation more pleasurable. It'll make watching a movie more pleasurable. So it amps everything up. So when you take weed away, then everything for a little while feels a little bit more...
Well, that's the same with all drugs, I'd say. But I think the main thing with weed for me was you smoke it, and things that aren't even fun seem like the most great idea to spend your time. So we might be sitting here now, right? Instead of recording this podcast and doing something we actually enjoy that's productive, you can smoke and you can just order food, and that will keep you happy. And it's kind of more of a distraction. You're spending your time doing stupid things. It's more of a distraction from a life that you're not happy with, and that's what I personally had.
Keeps you very docile. I think that's a good word to summarize it.
And I feel like if it might be any sort of vice, but you just need to kind of get rid of those as hard as it can be. To do that, in my personal experience, you need a big why.
Replacement.
Yes.
A why. Yeah.
You need a why.
Yeah.
Or you actually want to quit. If you don't want to quit, you're never going to quit, and no one can force you to. You need a reason. For example, a why. My reason was mainly because it was just causing me a lot of problems and interfering with things like training. So if I finish boxing training and I'm going and smoking, it's not the most productive or the most valuable thing I could be doing after training. It kind of cancelled out everything I was doing. So
yeah, and when you first start weed, it's exciting. It's like super new, and what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, you're always the first time you do it, great. You feel great. The second time you do it, you feel not as good as the first time, and then you're basically chasing the dragon.
You need more and more. And then the more I smoked weed, the more of the negative side effects, so the anxiety. Like I remember trying to speak to my family and I'd be like, I can't put a sentence together. Like you're so like hyper aware of everything. It makes you really anxious, makes you not want to do things that actually make you happy. So for us, we're recording this podcast, we're just in a flow state. If we were stoned, like we're not going to be able to.
I'd just start bugging out.
We've got these two cameras facing us.
My brain wouldn't work. So definitely a big thing in today's society. You'll see it. It's the competition has never been so easy. If you have your head screwed on even a little bit and you're training hard and you're doing the things that you should be doing, that you tell yourself you're going to be doing, you're easily just going to wipe out 90% of the population easy.
Yeah. And the next vice, junk food. We've got a stat here. Over 60% of men in the UK are overweight or obese. So the majority of men are out of shape. And like we said earlier, exercise is a foundation for a good life. So 60% of men in the UK are not even achieving the foundation, the baseline that holds up everything else. If you want to have a good relationship, you want to have a good business, you want to level up in your career, you want to pursue anything, but you don't have that baseline, it's not going to go well. And there are successful people, in quotes, that have a lot of money but they're not in shape, but I would not consider that success.
Yeah, you want to be, if there's a guy who, I mean, if you've got loads of money, great, but if you're out of shape, and for me personally, I've never struggled with that because of my metabolism and my job, and to be fair, that is a massive like cope. I train hard, that's why I'm not fat.
Yeah True.
You can preach for that. You were fucking big at one point. Now you started locking in on your training, then you
well, I'm a fat loss coach, is what I help people with. And some people, you're right, have a faster metabolism, but I'm definitely not one of those people. But if it's something that you get up and it bothers you every single day, you look in the mirror, don't like what you see, it should be priority number one. But these vices are so strong, like the stuff they're putting in this food. Go to McDonald's, it's so highly palatable. These vices are so strong that it can distract you from overcoming them. And I don't know, if someone truly wants to lose fat, I would recommend looking at my YouTube channel, my full fat loss guide. People have said in the comments it's the best guide they've ever seen on YouTube, so I would go and watch that. But like you said earlier, you need a strong enough why. You need a reason to do these things. You need to decide, okay, what's the thing that I'm truly chasing? What will this actually give me? What is my current scenario of being overweight, being out of shape? What is this restricting me from doing in my life?
I think at the end of the day, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're one of those 60% of the people who are overweight, then you need to realize that something you're doing is not working. And that might be that you have weak discipline, like we spoke about. You're not training, you can't even stick to training. That is a basic thing as a man. There's no man on earth that I will look up to who does not train. And not like, I also think training combat sports should be included in that. I will never feel insecure next to a man if I know that I can beat you up. Like, not even in a weird, like not in a horrible way, but if I walk into a room and I know everyone in that room, if it came down to it, I would come out walking and they would all be down. Then of course you're going to be confident, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the martial arts is another great one. There was a clip with Joe Rogan and GSP, so George St. Pierre's trainer, and they said on a podcast, I think Faraz Sahabi, his name, he asked Joe Rogan, okay, how would you feel if I suddenly clicked my fingers and took away all your martial arts experience?
Oh, yeah, I remember this clip.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan was like, insecure. And it makes sense because you suddenly don't have the ability to deal with a very real scenario that could happen at any point in time. We're primal beings, like sometimes shit goes down, and if you're not prepared for that scenario, you're always going to have that level of insecurity. So that's one thing martial arts has given me. I can walk in a room and be pretty comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. Like you taught me that, so kudos to you.
But yeah, if there's one thing that you're going to take from what we've just spoke about is, if you are not training, you need to be training. If you're not training martial arts, you need to be training martial arts. if you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel horrible, you don't like what you see, or you know that you've got bad discipline, then something needs to change.
Yeah. And we just named a couple of those vices. So junk food, what was the other one? Weed we mentioned. There's a few more. Pornography, Netflix, any type of consumerism.
What are you doing? If you're out of shape and you're not confident, but you think, oh, I'm going to sit in bed, get a takeaway, watch Netflix and do nothing, you need to sort your mindset out. Now, I don't feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I'm pretty straight to the point. I'll say it to my clients. I do not feel sorry for them if like you have no excuse.
Yeah, it's all your responsibility.
Just bullshit.
I read it, but it was Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and he said the reason why you are where you are, you can't blame anyone else.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of people like to do. They like to offload responsibility. It's this person's fault. This person did this to me, and this is why I'm in this scenario. My parents overfed me when I was young, and this is why I'm fat. But it all comes down to you. You chose to eat. Every time you put food in your mouth, that was your decision. Unless someone's got you in a dungeon somewhere force feeding you, which is very unlikely, it was your choice. And all of these choices, they stack up. And if you're watching this and you're currently not happy with your scenario, it's because of all the choices that you made, not anyone else.
Yeah,
it's your choice.
I like that, and I always say it to, I think I say it to you all the time, like, we are exactly where we deserve to be in life. You are where you are because of every single action you've taken since the day you were born.
Yeah.
This year, we are where we are because of every action we've taken, and it's not luck.
Man.
And one thing you realise, as soon as you start taking positive action, you start going to the gym, you start doing what you're doing, staying consistent with content, you realise, oh, suddenly you become very lucky.
Yeah.
As soon as you start taking action, you become very lucky, and you're where you deserve to be. So if you are not happy currently, no matter what situation you are in, you need to take responsibility and realise you deserve to be there. I do it all the time. If I'm not happy with something, if I'm not growing in areas I want to be growing, I take a look at myself and realise I am not growing because of me. It's no one else's fault.
Yeah, completely. And if we're going to talk about how to bring yourself out of those ruts, out of those bad scenarios, where you're looking around, your room's messy.
Yes.
Your mind is fucked from all the stuff you've been watching, TikTok, like pornography, which you just mentioned, doom scrolling, all this junk, this mental junk. If you're in that scenario and your body, you've been abusing your body, you've been going to the pub every weekend, you're always hungover and anxious, and you've been eating junk food. If you're in that scenario, I think the best way out is, like we said before, the foundation needs to be fitness. That needs to be base one. Don't think too much into the future of, oh, I need to make like $1 million a year and I need to have a perfect relationship. Just start with fitness. That's base one. Once you achieve that, then your mind is going to be a lot healthier. You're going to have new ideas. You're going to be able to surround yourself with new people who are on the same wavelength. Because right now, if your mind's messed up, you're not going to be able to surround yourself with that. No one's going to want to be around you. So.
Yeah, 100%. And there was something I was just about to say.
So I rambled on a little bit.
I completely forgot, but it was actually a good point.
Can I add another point? You'll think of it.
Go for it.
And it's important that every time you have a win, so let's say you get up, you drink a litre of water, you go on a walk outside, you get some sunlight, you go to the gym, you lift, you do 2 sets on an exercise, you need to celebrate that as much as you want, because positive action, it's like a compound effect. The more you celebrate those things, the more you attract the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But if you diminish it and say, oh, this is where, like, I'm on such a low level, what's the point? Then you're going to be put off by it and you're not going to want to continue. So it's really important to celebrate every single win, and then it will compound from there.
Yeah, this is the last thing I want to say. It's not what I wanted to say before, but it reminded me. I saw a clip of Ed Sheeran on a podcast, and he said there's like, you start doing bad things, you end up in a downward spiral. It always gets worse. So, for example, you might skip training, that leads to eating bad, that leads to maybe starting smoking, drinking, going out, downward spiral always. Now, if you start with a positive action, instead of doing that, you go for a run, suddenly you start feeling better, maybe then you're more motivated to clean your room, then suddenly you might get a new idea for a business, stuff like that. It's a positive spirals, downward spirals. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's the epitome of what we just talked about for the last, how long have we been rolling? Probably like 25 minutes,
I'm not sure,
my
man.
estimate. But we've been flowing.
Yeah, not the last thing. One thing I really wanted to touch on in this podcast is chasing women. Because that is why a lot of men stay average. Now, I don't know, I feel this is quite close to my heart, I don't know.
Yeah.
Chasing women I've done it myself.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Big distraction,
especially at a young age. And most of the time, most guys anyway, you're probably one of the, well, I'm not saying you are, but you might be one of the 60% of men who are overweight. So first of all, your life is not even in check. But you're chasing women who most of the time aren't even interested in you. If there's a woman who's interested in you, you do not need to chase them.
Yeah, your obsession, if it's on a woman, that is detracting from the things that you need to get done. Like, there's so much you need to get done. There's so many things that you could be working on. The gym, for us, it's been building a business for the last 2 years, and it's been so hard. And if you add on thinking about a woman, it can get very obsessive in your mind. Like, you'll be thinking about it all the time, and it's a big distraction. And women, what I've learned, they don't go for guys that are obsessed with them. That's a turn off. That is something that they try and avoid. They go for guys who are winners and that are leveling up and chasing their mission. So if you want to, it's that quote, it's like, build the garden and then the butterflies will come.
Yeah.
You don't chase the butterflies, they'll just fly away.
But a lot of people spend too much time, too much money on dating apps, like chasing women. Now, from my personal experience, chasing women is probably one of the worst things you can do. Because it's going to distract you from every single purpose. It's just the dumbest thing you can do. You're not going to be thinking about how you can improve yourself. You're thinking, how do I win this woman over who doesn't even care about me? And I think that is a big problem in today's generation. Like, a lot of guys, they'll spend money, time, effort, energy on a woman, and what ends up happening is the woman monkey branches to something that she thinks in the moment's better. And the guy's left with no money, he's not made any progress, he's spent all his time focusing on a woman, and he's basically shot himself in the foot.
This happens in relationships, guys. They go into the gym, they're improving, then they get to a level where they can find a girlfriend, and then they get comfortable, they get complacent. Their girlfriend starts saying, okay, you can come on, just chill in bed with me, you don't need to go to the gym, like, let's lie in, let's have a takeaway, let's watch this movie, and you get all comfortable, and then boom, like, you break up one day and you're in a worse position than you were a year or 2 years ago when you first got with that girl. And it is a time stealer. If you don't know how to manage that, it can be a big time stealer.
This is something that not too many people would maybe realise, but if you're in a relationship right now, you might be you might be going to the gym, you might be working on your business, you might be training really hard. Let's say you're boxing 5 times a week, and you were doing that before you got in a relationship. Then suddenly you get in a relationship and the woman's telling you to stop training, so you stop training. And the thing she was initially attracted to you, like the reason you're training so hard, focused, you've stopped doing that. So subconsciously she's now lost attraction to you. You're no longer the person who she wanted. You're
now not that leader. No. You're now weak and feminine.
Well, it's in some regard, yeah. But the things you were initially doing to attract that woman, you've stopped doing them. I see it all the time. Guys in the gym, they get a girlfriend, suddenly I don't see them for 2 months. And they come back and they're fat, and I'm like, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, nothing.
Yeah.
You need to stay on your purpose. Avoid women as much as possible. It's going to cause you nothing but stress, okay?
Maybe that's the wrong message.
No, it's not the wrong message. Of course you need a healthy balance, right? Yeah. But you need to sort your life out first.
I think if you find the right person...
That is very true, actually. If you find the right woman, then 100% she'll help you become who you are. I wouldn't be where I am without a particular woman in my life, so... If you find the right one, 100%, but I'm saying if you're chasing women who do not even care about you, they have no interest in you, you're putting your energy into the wrong place.
Yeah, and one example is that I'll use myself. So at the end of last year, I was dating, and I was like you said, I was chasing. Like I was on these dating apps. I was trying to set things up, and I was unhappy. I wasn't moving things forward. I was off with my fitness. I wasn't growing my my social media. I wasn't developing skills. I wasn't getting better. But since I've just stopped, like for the last 5 months, since the start of this year, nothing. I've made huge level ups in all of those areas. My fitness, I did my first bodybuilding show. I got to the leanest I've ever been to in my life. I've started growing my YouTube channel. It's on over 2,000 subs. Started growing Instagram. I'm attracting new clients. And I've not gone on one date. I've not even thought about it once, but it's the most happy I've ever been in my life. And I think that's just because I haven't thought about it one time.
There's no better feeling than, it doesn't matter what it is, drugs, women, there's no better feeling than knowing that you're on your grind and hitting targets. There's no better feeling. You're
making progress. I saw someone say, like, male life and being fulfilled as a man is just A to B. That arrow in between where you're making progress from A to B, that is what makes men fulfilled. So if you don't have any goals or nothing you're aiming towards, you're not making progress in any areas. How do you expect yourself to feel fulfilled or happy? And when you're in that position where you're not making progress in those areas, of course you're going to fall into these vices. Of course you're going to indulge in all these pleasurable things and distractions because you don't have that mission.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I think we've both done exactly what we're saying you shouldn't do, but that is why we can tell you that you should not be doing these things.
Yeah.
The experiences we've had or I've had personally in most of these things are the reason that I am the way I am today and why I think how I think. So the main thing I think is chasing women is the worst thing, because it just leaves you. You just don't need to do that. Like, you're not going to be a more confident guy if you've got this girl.
No,
you're not. You need to be confident in yourself, get yourself where you need to be, and then of course you need a healthy balance of everything.
The results will come when it feels effortless, when you're just confident, when you're just like oozing charisma and life is going well and your business is making progress and you're in the best shape of your life. It'll just feel effortless. You can just speak to people with a lot more sense of calm. Like,
don't be needy.
Yeah, you don't have that neediness because
you don't care.
Yeah, you're like, if you leave my life,
you've got more important things going on than that. You know,
I've got this to conquer. I've got that to do. Like, goals, if you go, it's fine.
Things to do, training to do. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that's where you want to get to. I think we've talked about everything on this list. It's extremely warm in here.
Yeah, it's so hot. I'm literally like dying right now.
Yeah, and of course, this is our first podcast, so things might not have been perfect, but perfection is the enemy of progress. Like, the quickest way to get things you want in your life is just to take action. Absolutely. Don't analyze too much. Don't think, what's a perfect training plan? What's the perfect business plan? Don't spend 2 days writing out, okay, I'm going to do this. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
A quote I love, and I always say to myself, whenever I feel lost. So, for example, with the podcast, even coming up with the name, I was like, the path illuminates as you walk it. And that is true with every single thing in life. So if you're like, I don't know where to start in the gym, just start. Suddenly you'll have that one experience where you've been to the gym and you're like, okay, so the next time I go, I do this. Or you start that business or start that podcast, for example. We're like, right, we need to set up the cameras. Yeah. And then suddenly we're like, right, actually, I need to set up the lighting.
Yeah.
If I thought from the start, if I was like, I need to have everything planned out, we'd never started, you know?
The path illuminates as you walk it. That's a great quote.
That can be the quote of the podcast, 100%.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I really like that. And yeah, before this podcast started, we're like, we didn't know we'd be in this flow like we are now. We didn't know any of the stuff we'd be talking about.
Yeah.
It just came about as we started. We clicked record, sat down, we did 5 takes of the intro, and then we got going.
Bang. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was episode 1 of Killing Comfort. We'll be doing this weekly. I think that's a good period of time in between each episode. Yeah. It will give us enough experience. Like I said, I'm going to be fighting later this year. James has got a bunch of stuff going on. Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, I wanted to say, if you guys enjoyed watching and you stuck to this part of the podcast, you've obviously enjoyed what we had to say. So if you want to connect with us, and see what we get up to on our day-to-day lives, then drop us a follow on Instagram. They're both going to be linked in the description down below.
And YouTube.
Both of our Instagrams and YouTube. So if you want to stay up to date with both of us, what we're doing in our day-to-day lives, and get more from us than just the podcast, make sure you check out the description. And
if they want to email us, we're going to be doing a segment on a future podcast where you guys, if you have a struggle that you're facing, you have a tough scenario that you want a second and third opinion on, email us in as much detail as possible, preferably. It's going to be anonymous if you want it to be. If you want to shout out, that's fine. You can say your name, your first name, and the email. But send it to, what's the email that you created earlier today?
killingcomfort@gmail.com. So whatever it is, if you've got a question, if you've got a topic you want us to talk about, you've got a scenario that you need help with, whatever it is, send an email to killingcomfort@gmail.com.
Is it Killing Comfort Podcast or just Killing Comfort?
Killing Comfort Podcast.
Okay.
My bad.
Luckily you said that earlier. Otherwise you would send
you've been sending emails to the wrong person.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have any questions, you want any advice, then drop an email to killingcomfortpodcast@gmail.com. And we will select some to answer in episode 2.
If they're good, so make them good, please.
Make them interesting, make them good, make them things that we can actually talk about rather than just quick yes and no answers.
Make it a story, something we can expand on and give real advice or opinions on. And that's the podcast.
Yeah.
What's our tagline that we're using? It's going to be like David Goggins. He says, "Stay hard." We should be stay uncomfortable.
Nothing grows in the comfort zone.
Nothing grows in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Remember that. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. And we will see you in episode 2.
Yeah. See you in episode 2.
See ya.